You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, Miss Rusty. What's up, everyone? It is Monday. Back at it because Mondays are fucking cool. And if they're not cool, it's time to change. Welcome to the podcast, the public access podcast. Now in Pennsylvania, the podcast. So shout out to there. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here and doing what you do. And if you're watching this and you're like, fuck, I don't want to look at this guy's stupid face, you can go check it out anywhere on podcasts. Podcasts. Look up a podcast, type it in, do it, find me there. Unless it's on some obscure one, then I'm probably not there. Or if you're listening and you're like, what does this guy look like? Go to YouTube. Pretty easy. That's all you gotta do. Everything's pretty easy. So it's time for me to bring on my special guest. And I have my special guest right here and right now. And he's back again. My special guest right here and right now is well, so I don't know. You may have to take this over at some point, but maybe Uncle Cliffy.
Oh, and who's uncle? Your uncle? Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
well, there was a guy. So Clifford fucking Myers here, man.
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me,
What's
Rusty.
dude?
And you have
Yeah.
upped your production value, bro. You got a hypnosis commercial with your floating head now. We're going down cryptic tunnels. Like, what's happening over here?
If only I knew. If only I knew or I remembered. Yeah, I'm trying to up it a little bit. I got uh I got suggested to up it some more and do post-production stuff, but I haven't quite committed to that level yet. That's the next one where it would be putting in the start music, that stuff that you were just referring to in post-production rather than just playing it. But that's a whole nother level of work in that. And then I have to put it at the end and then put something in the middle. And yeah,
Well,
so one of
you're
those days,
definitely
but
you're
thank you.
crushing it, bro. You're crushing it. And I'm just saying, I can see a big difference from the last time we had a podcast to now, like even with your background and everything. So it's just great to see you like self-investing and doing your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that for putting me over on my show, man. Why not?
You got it. You
Dude,
got it.
like, yeah, man. Dude, like, yeah, because last time we talked, so we also have to do this. My goal for this one is to keep it under 2 hours. Because speaking of
You had to pre-warn
post-production
me.
work,
Okay, fair
yeah,
enough.
so I don't have to go and try to cut it down to 2 hours, so I can opus clip this later on if things don't, go all over.
Just warn me for getting into the zone.
Yeah, if we're getting there, I'll start,
Okay.
talking about something.
Say banana. That'll be our code word. You
Ooh,
like
yeah, banana's a good one, dude.
so then we
Banana,
got to make like a banana split. That's what that's all about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, dude, like, uh, Okay. So back to the Uncle Cliffy real quick. So there was a basketball player who used to play for the Portland Trailblazers a long time ago. His name was Cliff Robinson, but he died a few years ago. Wasn't me.
Wait, I know Cliff Robinson. He was on Survivor, right?
Yep, he was on Survivor.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that guy was awesome. He had a crazy good blindside by the one and only Tony Vlachos. Brap.
no shit.
Yeah, dude, I'm a huge Survivor fan. That's how I know all my athletes.
Okay, good. So yeah, so you know like about yeah, Uncle Cliffy and fucking
I didn't
what
realize
was
he had Uncle Cliffy as his nickname. That's funny. Like yeah, because he was on the show and he was one of those guys that everyone was like, oh man, he went out early, but we love to have him back. He had a great attitude. He had a big
ooh.
moment, the way he was blindsided. And then like, yeah, unfortunately he passed away. But like I always wonder about being really big guy in your lifespan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I see like a 6'6" guy or something, I'm like, how long do you got? Like you're a living giant in this world. You
Yeah,
know?
there aren't too many old, like really tall guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
When's the last time you've seen an old dude that's like 6'7"?
yeah, but like little people, there's you see some old little people, but you don't see old, like really tall
Well, because
people.
old people shrink. Even like my mom's lost like 2 inches in the past year.
Yeah.
She would kill
And
me if I compared her to old people, though. So, like, do not show my mom this
yeah,
podcast.
she's got a while. She's got a while before she's an old people. Um, but yeah, I mean, dude, like, I don't know. It's I just found out like actually right before I guess I did research. This is for the podcast to learn about because I'm like, I think I remember him like dying a few years ago, but I'm not sure. It could just be kind of a blur. But so I had to research that, and then I saw that. Yeah, then I saw that, but the survivor part, and
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay, well, cool, man. And then like, so I guess Uncle Cliffy was a dance that he would do after scoring, and then that just became his nickname.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that. That's funny. Do you think now that he's passed away, I can take his moniker, or is that not looked good?
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like I think you'd be an all right person to pass the torch to for the cliffiness. Uh I
Well,
think
and
I think you'd be
people look at
the
me, they think I'm a fit basketball player. That's the first impression they get.
I think so. I think that would be like because yeah, you'd be like the perfect one to go to. There'd be nobody else. Like uh I don't think that, you know, if it's, because I don't know. I was gonna ask you this too. So when you first started um in comedy, did you have people suggesting like jokes about your name? Because that's usually one of the first jokes that you do. And then did you do any, or did you tell them to kind of fuck off, or did you
And
know?
you know, it's interesting because you had people that like the first joke that would ever be made about me would be about my name, right? Like if I was meeting kids on the playground, they call me Clifford the Big Red Dog. It's
Right.
just the lowest hanging fruit. And I would try to find something that was a little bit like, you know, a little bit more elevated than the go-to joke. And like kids got a little creative in grade 8. They stopped calling me Clifford the Big Red Dog and they started calling me Cliffilus, like syphilis.
Ooh,
And my
okay.
brother's name is Herbie, and they were calling him Herbies. It was like a whole thing.
Wow.
That's a, you know what I mean? So
That's
I, when I first started, I think I talked about that a little bit, but it's like, it's not funny enough to be a real stand-up bit. It's more like it is a shadow of funny that gives you an idea of what funny can look like. But the funny is so much beyond names or how we look. Like one of the first jokes I ever made, I lived in a place called Hamilton, and I said I wasn't from here. I guess not sure why I moved here. I guess I saw the word ham and kind of lost my mind because I'm a big guy. It's a
yeah,
dumb joke, a play on words. Again, a shadow of funny, but not really funny. But you're still smiling, like you see it.
right.
But like, it's
Yeah,
not till you're years in that you actually realize like where the funny is when you cut in and go deep, and it's your stories and your life. It's beyond the first impressions and your name. But like, the worst thing is when people want you to tell them a joke and you just don't have one for them, you know? Like, I'm just like, I just don't have that for you. But if you talk to me, I will make you laugh. That's the craziest thing. If you just don't ask for it, you'll
Yeah.
laugh. You know?
Yeah. I do, like, whenever someone would tell me that one, I'd always have something like the worst fucking joke I could think of with the worst possible delivery I could do. And then they wouldn't ask me anymore. And I guess that's probably goes to a lot of things. Like if I do it shitty enough, then they're not gonna ask me anymore. But
Yeah. Well, I think there's levels to like bullying, and one of the first levels name calling. Right. And like it's one of
right.
the things why parents, like I know when we were looking through the baby book, I'm not with my baby mama anymore, but like, when we were together, we're looking through that baby book, and the conversation is, hey, what about this name? You could say this, you could say this. Like I'm thinking of all the roast jokes in my head. And
Yeah.
then so when we gave my son a classic name, we call him Henry. Right. Like
Right.
she's like, I like Henry because you can't give him a nickname. And I'm like, no, you can still give him a nickname. She's like, no, you can't. It's Henry. And I'm like, Henjamin Button, Henny Boo Boo, and like Hendo Calrissian. I just start going. I'm like, yeah, you can get creative in this life, but none of those names are punching down names. Like you can't really like. I even got like I got a hen on my wrist. It's for my son, but also for my Portuguese heritage. We love chickens, and so like for me, I was like, yeah. I know he's going to get made fun of in life, but I want him to be made fun of for who he is as a weirdo and not the name he sports,
Oh,
because it's when
yeah.
you attack our character is when we become who we're going to be.
Right. I
and
like
that,
that,
and I
man.
want my son to be attacked for his character. None of this
Yeah.
bullshit surface stuff.
Yeah.
Like
It's
he was
just not.
born with a
You're not even
mullet.
trying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was he was
Yeah.
he was born with a mullet, and I wondered if that was going to be an ongoing thing. Like, do I have the mullet kid? Like
Did you get? Does he know that? Does he know that she was born with a mullet? Have you got to tell him this?
yeah, well, he's 7 now. It's so funny. My,
Okay.
my kid's he's a little bit higher needs. He's definitely like a very rambunctious child, high energy child, and
Yeah.
he's so funny because he has no filter. So he's going around like he'll tell a lifeguard, like he's like, have you ever got punched in the penis before? Like literally just like bold, crazy stuff that should not leave a person's mouth. If I said it, I'd be told by the YMCA, Clifford, you can't come back here anymore. You keep talking to lifeguards about penises, and we don't like it. We
Yeah.
don't like it one bit. But we excuse
No.
it for a child. And because he's just so bold, like he'll go up to a fat person and be like, what got you so fat? Chocolate? Was it ice cream? For my dad, it was ice cream. Like, and I'm just like, could you cool it with I'm gonna be extra spectrumy today? Like, can we just tone it down a little bit? But like for me, I love that kind of I don't know. I don't know at what point we lose the brash ignorance of the world and start trying to self-police what we say to people, what we say in public, worrying about how we come off. He doesn't have any of that.
Right.
It's so beautiful.
I was talking to my buddy Quiz like before this about and we were saying that because like so when I was a kid, I get people making fun of me a lot, but then I would go right like throw it right back, but then I'd like make the person cry and and then I would get in trouble. And it
Yeah.
would be me, the person who was getting picked on, and then like I made the person cry, so then I'd get in trouble. Because I mean, I guess it helps out later in life, but I mean, yeah, at some point you get to this point where you can't, you have to sort of like, wait, hold up, I can't, I shouldn't say this, or I may get in trouble.
I mean, yes and no, because I actually think that ebbs and flows depending on what you're doing in life, right? Like you speak on a public platform, you have a podcast. I don't think you can fully afford to be careful about what you say. Like in some things, yes, but in some things, no, because
Right.
in the attention landscape that is the internet, if you're not provocative or changing the conversation to some degree or piercing the noise to some degree, you're just washed away like on the rocks like everyone else. It's actually
Yeah.
one of the things that like not that I ever try to be intentionally offensive or something like that, but I also like, because I'm heady and because I like to just have like hippie philosophical conversations and go with the wind, that doesn't
Yeah.
really fit into what people want to hear. They want to hear me bash the conservatives or bash the liberals or talk about why we can't be doing drag story time. And I just don't really give a shit about any of those subjects. Any of the polarizing subjects actually pierce the attention. I don't fully care about them, but I do think that like it's important for me to still not care about talking about that stuff, right? Like, you know, even as an entertainer, it's on the flip side, like it's almost like for me to be able to get ahead or get more of an audience, I need to polarize people. But because I want to stick to what I do, I'm just going to go the other way, talk about what I want to talk about, and those that fuck with me, and those that don't, they probably never heard of me and don't care, and it's all good anyways.
And that's an important part. Like the people who are gonna fuck with you are gonna fuck with you. And like
Yeah.
those are your people. And
Yeah,
that's
bro.
kind
I was in a
yeah.
trauma. I was in a trauma group today. Like I'm starting like my healing journey because every
Yeah.
comedian comes from some sort of trauma background, right?
Right. Yeah.
I fucking crushed. Like I was crushing it in this group sesh, and I was just like, man, like for me, like you could take away the comedy stage, and I'll always have a comedy stage. Whether it's at like some therapy group or at the pool or at the grocery store, for me, it's really a way of life of being able to make people laugh and how much joy I get out of that and how much joy I just get out of interesting conversations. But like a lot of the stuff in the zeitgeist, I could very much care less about.
Yeah. And sometimes like in those places where it's not you're not like recording it or it's not like it's for an audience, but like it's something that's just for you people, and then it's like that's it. That's the whole place. But then that was the spot, like you have that. You have that moment, man, like where it was awesome. And why the fuck not, dude? Like and have a spot. Like I remember, yeah, like do like AA meetings or something like those
AA
like
meetings are great because
yeah,
you have
dude.
people with the wildest ass stories.
Yeah, and you got the storytelling, you got people who will tell the same story every single time,
You always
and
got
then,
that dude. Yeah.
there's always that dude, and but then you got people that'll just tell the craziest shit, and you can pick up a lot of stuff from that, and, learning how to work an audience,
Well,
I guess anywhere.
I think about these places too because I go to AA as well, and like I like these kind of groups because like let's say like like there's like 8 of us in the room, right? So I'm
Right.
making like maybe me makes number 9, so I'm making 8 people laugh. Now I've done shows for decent paychecks for small crowds for 25 people, but it's some kind of work thing and they paid a corporate price or whatever. I
Yeah.
would take the 8 people that are from a broken background, trying to make their lives better, trying to learn skills, trying to do things. I'd rather make them laugh than the people pay me very well.
Yeah.
Because that's a bit of a bias on my end, but it's one of those things where I'm like, when I originally got into comedy, it was about making people happy. Like that was what it
Right.
was about. And now as you go on, it becomes about so much other things. At some point, you think you're a truth speaker and you're the one, the modern philosopher that will speak truth to power. And then like you suddenly get an ego and all this kind of stuff. And then you get slammed and then you burn down and then you're like, oh, I'm fucking nothing and I'm a nobody. And then you become a glorious nobody. You enjoy your place in this world. Right. Like it's a lot of ebb and flow with it.
Yeah,
And for me, I'm back at that
absolutely.
place where it's about making people happy. Where like because I have other things, right? I've been building my own business and I've been being a parent and chasing love and all the things that makes us alive and enjoying this life. Like I like that. And it's weird when people get it twisted. Like even with
Right.
comedy, a lot of comedians think it's about making people laugh. And it's not necessarily about making people laugh. And I learned this from wrestlers. That's about making people feel. You just want them to feel something. You want to tell them a story that takes them away from their own. You want to bring them into something that reflects something they need to see. Like that's what people really want is because sometimes like we're going to our 9 to 5. we're numb the fuck out. And then we got our coffee and we got our donuts and we got our routines. And hey, good morning. How are you? Same day, different dollar, whatever the fuck they say. You know what I mean? And we get
Yep.
caught in these loops. And I think we just want to be like real and alive with each other. And I do think that most people want that.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you get it like with comedy, but like there always seems to be a lot of wrestling fans that will say like, dude, my life fucking is even like when I was a fan and I was going, I'd be like, dude, a lot of shit I'm doing in my life is kind of shitty, but dude, like for that like 2-3 hours, I don't like care about anything else.
Well, it's amazing because, like, I have to laugh at people sometimes. Like, I work with corporate teams and I love working with them. I love their initiatives. I think they're doing really cool stuff in this world. But you
Yeah.
have to understand when people become domesticated to a certain degree and sophisticated to a certain degree, that their expectations rise of what's appropriate and not appropriate. They become more entitled of what you can say and what you can't say. And they have more of an opinion in their taste of what's art and what's not art. And for me, I find that very funny because I look at wrestling as one of the highest art forms that exist because it's for all people. It goes to the lowest common denominator and it tells stories of victory and defeat, heroes and villains, overcoming and falling short of the mark. That is what life is all about. That's what these stories are about. When we're booing the bad guy, we're booing ourselves when we're the bad guy. And when we're cheering on the good guy, we're believing we can fly too. And there's that element of wrestling that you can't do in any A24 film. I'm not going to see that at cons. I don't care if you're Louis C.K. You're not giving me that. You're not there with the guy in the group home, but also like the lawyer who just loves wrestling. We're all in the same room. We're all in the same room watching the same thing, watching the blood, sweat, and tears of people just trying to win and have a victory. And whatever that is in your life, maybe it's your victory looks like putting boundaries in with an overbearing parent or overcoming an addiction or trying to lose weight because of obesity. Whatever victory you're looking for, you want to finish your fucking story. And that's what it's about. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah.
And so like, I love comedy, but I also look at wrestling as a place where it can do things that comedians can't because we're trapped to a microphone and a cord. Like on Space Jam, when Daffy Duck talks about being in hell for eternity as a comedian, having to tell the same jokes to the same people. I'm like, well, in the wrestling ring, you tell stories with your body. And I was telling you before we got on the recording podcast that like, I really look up to R-Truth as one of the funniest people in the world. Funnier, like if someone said who's funnier, Ron Killings, the wrestler that wrestles as R-Truth, or Dave Chappelle, I'm saying R-Truth. And that does not diminish Dave Chappelle. That does not diminish what he's done in the comedy world. But R-Truth is for everyone. He's making the kid laugh. He's making grandpa laugh. He's making 20,000 people of different backgrounds. But the thing is when Dave Chappelle's making people laugh, those are 20,000 Dave Chappelle fans. There's the difference.
Yeah.
There's the difference, because Ron Killings will walk in and just change the way you think about connecting through laughing. And I love that because he doesn't take himself seriously. He allows himself to be the butt of the joke. He allows himself to come off stupid, to come off like the silly one, when how many of us are trying not to be stupid? Someone says a big word in a conversation and you pretend you know what they're talking about. Oh yes, pontificate. Right? Like we don't fucking know. And so like for me, like I see it as a glorious, one of the best art forms in the world because of how lowbrow it can be.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, just like it being able to have any part where you can, like, yeah, getting someone to like actually, I don't know, because like you can do it, and I don't know who's done it in comedy though, but like to that like effect.
I'm trying to think of like who could do that in comedy. But the thing is like they're coming in with like their jokes and stuff, right? Like someone that's used to just talking to people naturally, like someone like a David Letterman. right?
Yeah.
Like that's just used to being funny. Like, and someone like a Norm Macdonald who was just of a different breed, right? And he didn't care if he was going to offend you. He was able to play the heel and the baby face at the same time. He was a very interesting guy. So
Yeah.
like, but like
Oh,
to
man.
be honest, what we're accomplishing in comedy is just a little different, right? Like for me, the intention of going to laugh is different than the intention to going to be entertained and laughing in the process. That's what wrestling is. You're going to be entertained. Maybe you're entertained by someone making you laugh. Maybe you're entertained by someone flying off a ladder. Maybe you're entertained by a big guy getting slammed. Whatever it may
Yeah.
be that's entertaining you, right? But like in comedy, there's an expectation of laughter, which raises the pressure on the performer. And that's why a good comedian is so good, because they are tapped into the pressure, they have a relationship with it. And it's just different for wrestlers in comedy. Now, I love saying that wrestlers are more elevated than comedians because of how angry it makes comedians. That's the main reason why I say it. I don't know if that's my real opinion, but I like saying it because comedians are so full of shit. We're so full of ourselves, and like it's just so true. We're brooding with our notebooks and pens like we're the next Socrates. Like we have to fuck off. Like it's so silly. So like for me, I'm just like, no, we are so privileged to be able to do this, to be able to make people laugh for money. That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
But like it's not we're not special. And this is a Mike Tyson thing. Mike Tyson said that people who think they're somebody, they're always the offended ones. Like, who are you to say something rude around me? Who are you to show me something I don't want to see? Where the real professionals of the world are the nobodies, people who keep their head down, go to work, go get it done. And I'm a nobody that lives for the nobodies. Like that's kind of where I'm like, it's not a brand thing. It's really like a life value alignment philosophy kind of thing. Like I align with the idea that, yeah, I'm no one. I'm here to make you laugh, and then you're gonna forget my name in 2 days.
Is that going
You
to be
know,
on your shirt? Is that on your shirts that are on your merch store
I don't
or in your
have
merch
no merch
store?
right now. I'm working on getting merch with my buddy Terry Gordon is helping me out doing some wonderful artwork. But he does these really awesome. I would love to give a shout out to Terry Gordon if you don't mind, because this
No,
guy,
I do. I don't. No, don't. Yeah. Please give
you
a
know,
shout. Yeah.
well, because he like I know you're in the wrestling world, and this guy's an artist from Toronto. Who do you remember Garbage Pail Kids?
Fuck yes, I do.
He makes Garbage Pail Kid cards of AEW wrestlers,
Oh
right?
shit.
So he's like I think Mad Mod Poet God or something. If you look Terry Gordon up on Google, you'll find him. This guy does awesome artwork that's like Garbage Pail Kid themed. He does fetish bears. He's so weird and unique, and I love those kind of people. And yeah, I just want to give Terry a shout out since we're on the subject. But like he's going to help me with some t-shirts. But for now, I take everything one day at a time. My big focus is my business, of just trying to grow it, trying to understand it, doing a lot of research. And yeah, it's a slow boil when you're building for the long term. Sometimes it looks like
Right.
you've plateaued, but like I can see my daily growth. You know what I mean?
And it's important, you know, like just to, yeah, there's a lot more to everything than just, I mean, yeah, if you have your own business, there's a lot.
Well, attitude
Oh,
is everything. For me, it's like you either have a great attitude or you don't. And like I have so much conflict in my life. You got to remember when I first did this podcast with you is when I first started my business. And so it was like over a year ago, right?
really?
And
That was a
yeah,
year
yeah.
ago?
Yeah, it was
Wow,
about a year
okay.
ago. Yeah. And I was just like trying to figure out this business. I was kind of hitting the ground, grinding at it. And I met you in a Facebook group, and I jumped on. And it was one of those things where I had this vision, I had this dream, but in order to try to go for it, I was going to become poor. I was going to go into intentional poverty. I wasn't going to be taking a straight 40 hours. I was going to get my work in odd gigs and odd jobs. And I was taking on a significant amount of hardships that was going to put a strain on my relationships. Like now I'm almost 2 years in. It'll be 2 years in May. And yeah, I've had some relationships go through the ringer. I've lost some people. I've gained new people. I've had friendships blossom from strangers that I would have never expected. And for me, it's given me this incredible perspective that no matter how hard things are, it's most likely going to be okay. You're most likely going to survive it. And if you have that attitude every single day, you're always going to learn and grow. So, like, I've hit plateaus, but then, like, last Thursday, for example, I got to speak in a YMCA lobby in front of a bunch of senior citizens for a senior living fair, right?
Holy
So
shit. Okay.
everyone's over 65, and I'm
Yeah.
telling them about comedy and mental health. The amount of engaging questions they're asking me about laughter and dementia and laughter and Alzheimer's, and I was able to actually pull that research out of my ass because I knew it. Like, I've been going so deep into these subjects about how comedy helps us physically and mentally that I was really able to answer their questions earnestly with real backed up research. And I was so
Yeah.
proud of myself for what I've learned. I volunteered my
Yeah.
time. I didn't gain anything, monetarily from that. What I gained from that was the knowledge of my own growth. You know what I
Which is
mean?
priceless. And
Absolutely priceless. Like,
yeah.
just knowing that, like, negative Nancy Clifford from maybe 10 years ago isn't that same guy anymore. And I'm so happy I'm not. Because
Yeah.
goodness gracious, that guy had no longevity.
Yeah. It's real easy to remember that person. And yeah, I know that person. I know that person.
We
And
all know that person. I think some of us have been that person. We know.
yeah, yeah, I've been that person, for sure. And I mean, like you were saying, the people that fuck with you are the people that are gonna fuck with you either way. And I mean, so are you hanging out at the YMCA? Because I was at the shout out to YMCA. I was at the YMCA a few hours ago.
I
Um,
love the YMCA. And one of the things for me is the steam room.
oh, you got a
I,
steam room of
oh,
yours?
we got a steam room, bro.
Fuck, I need to step up. I need to tell them to step that shit up.
Oh, dude, I'm in there sweating with naked old guys,
Fuck
and they
yeah.
want to talk while we can, like, hardly breathe, like, just dicks out for Harambe. It's
Right.
incredible. And, like, for me, like, you'll see a theme with me. I was raised blue collar. I'm very I gravitate towards regular people. You know what I mean? Like, even if,
Yeah.
if I'm around artists and entrepreneurs for too long, I start getting annoyed with all the grinding. Everyone's on their grind and everyone's not pitching a thing. And, I like stuff like this that's in spurts and we get to have a lively conversation and then go our separate ways.
Yeah.
That's nice, and this serves a purpose and it gets to live on the internet forever. And that's wonderful. But, like, when I go to the YMCA, it's regular folks trying to lose a bit of weight, gain a bit of muscle, get out of the house, talk to people. I met an old lady who was, uh she had to be in her 70s, 80s, and she saw me reading Catcher in the Rye, and she's like, "Oh, it's been so many years since I've read that one." And I'm like, "You know what? I read it in high school, and I realized I didn't remember a single thing about it." And I was like, I wanted to reread this. And she's like, "Oh dear, I have done this with so many books in my life." And we're talking about the books that we love but forgot. And I'm having this regular conversation. Her name was Maggie. I remember her name was Maggie. And she was just a nice lady. And she was not on no grind. She wasn't trying to sell me something. I didn't have to sign up for an email. Like, she was cool. And for me, that gives me a little breath of life. When I'm in AA, I'm feeling a little breath of life from real people with real stories. But where I get caught up is, like, I have a lot of friends that are a little bit more proprietous. They make really good salaries and they have good jobs and they carry themselves a certain way, which is good. I understand it, but sometimes I'm like, why do we have to bend that way? Just because you have more, you have to be a certain thing. Like, well, like, sometimes I'm like, are you not? I don't want to call people phony, but there is, like, a certain level of phoniness. We see it with billionaires all the time, right? We
Yeah.
see it with really rich people being full of shit on all sorts of things, right? But, like, for me, like, there's certain levels of, people changing because they got to be on their best behavior because they don't want to affect a job position or a friendship that could break off, that maybe that's a useful ally, like all that kind of stuff. I think really takes away from us being able to connect honestly. And I try to get rid of barriers. So when I'm going to the YMCA, that's reflective of my mission in life. When I'm going to AA, that's reflective of my mission in life. But when I'm like in a suit and trying to pretend to be some type of way, all of a sudden I feel like a phony. I'm not saying everyone else is. There could be some real honest people in those circles, but I feel like a phony.
You're trying to dicks out for Harambe. You are dicks out for Harambe all over the place wherever you're going, and that's what you're doing. And
Yeah.
that's what you should be doing. And like fucking shout
This
out
episode's
to
called Dicks Out for Harambe, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
It
Shout out
is.
for Harambe, man.
Bro, we all miss him.
Dude, I know, man. That
Eh,
fucking yeah.
well,
That
I was in a really interesting situation the past few months because I was co-living with my ex-girlfriend. And
okay.
now we're trying to work it out at this point right now. We've kind of come full circle and we're trying to repair things and go to couples therapy. And if we can't repair it, end amicably through therapy. And, like we're really being conscientious here because she's had a positive impact in my son's life. We've been a part of each other's lives for years. We're giving it the old college try.
Yeah,
But when
and
we were co-living and broken up, there was an odd situation where I kind of landed accidentally into a bit of a love triangle. A little bit,
okay. A
a
little
little
bit.
bit, a little bit, a smidgen.
Okay.
And I had an emotional connection with another person. Nothing else, but it was an emotional connection, which sometimes people say is worse.
Okay. So
But you're a guy,
I'm
but
a guy,
you can imagine
and
how a female might see that as a no, thank you.
yep, no, I've heard that. I've heard that and experienced it.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. So I got you somewhat.
I've never experienced having my emotions divided that way before,
Me neither.
right?
I didn't know it
And
was a thing.
bro, you got to
Sorry.
hear this. So like they were both Geminis whose birthday was one day apart. One is 22, the other is 41. Okay?
Okay.
They're literally the younger one looks like a young version of the older one. The older one looks like an older version of the younger one.
Have
It's
you told him
weird.
this?
Yes, I did. Because I'm too open. But and that's the
All right.
thing. They were both
Shit.
they were both aware of each other. Now, the older one was more proprietous, had a very good job, white collar job. The younger one, blue collar job, right? And it was really interesting because I almost found all my life philosophies, my views in some kind of weird tug of war with this Gemini infestation happening in my life. And I'm a Pisces, so I have an infinite capacity to love. And that's dangerous when you're messing with these 4D chess women that is the lovely Gemini. So like I'm in their web. I'm caught. I'm loving it. And I like the tinge of crazy that I'm getting from either side. So like for myself, I've always said, you're living a good life when it's a story worth telling. And I really very much felt like I was in a wonderful, beautiful, messy story. Like as hurtful as some things may have ended up, as cold as some things may have ended up, I learned so much about people. I learned about myself. I learned about love. And ultimately, I'm trying to make it work with my ex, and she's a real one. And if it doesn't work out with us, I'm always going to be so thankful that she was in my life. And I'm thankful to the other person too.
Yeah.
Like I'm thankful that she entered my life. She taught me a lot, but she also showed me a glimpse into a world that I didn't want to be in. You
Which
know,
is good to know too. Which is
do you know how I knew that it was probably inevitable that it would never work?
I don't. You can I don't well, no, I
She
don't.
called stand up my hobby.
Oh, uh-oh.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm
Damn.
like, imagine calling someone's soul their hobby.
Right.
Then and that's the thing. I'm
Yeah.
like so romantic about life. Like for me, I'm just like, no, like it's comedy. It's in my veins, in my blood, in my heart. Like, what do you mean, my hobby? No, I play Hearthstone at night. That's my hobby. I watch wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's
Yeah.
not my hobby. That's my passion. And I'm not giving it any more breath than that because it's a lowbrow passion. but I love comedy. I love how it connects me to people, and I think it matters.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh, yeah. And so, I mean, like, and one other thing, like with the going to the couples therapy, like that's only going to benefit you in the future. Like, whatever the outcome is,
Yep.
only going to
And,
fucking benefit you, man.
and that's the thing. Like, you know, we grew up in a generation where our parents didn't go to therapy. Our parents didn't regularly, you know, do counseling and do self-care stuff. That wasn't part of the conversation
No,
in the 90s, you know? And so nowadays I'm like, no, this is very healthy. I want to, like, if we're going to continue forward, I want us to thrive as wonderful partners. But if we're not going to go forward, like, I want us to end amicably, and I got your back. You know,
right.
that is the absolute truth. Is like, I got her back, you know? And like, it's one of those things where the stories we want aren't always the stories we get, but we're in the stories we're in.
And
And
we need
the
those stories to get
acceptance,
to the other stories.
that's it. And we have to kind of accept that. We have to accept that the story was what it was. Did I want it to be different? What if the timing was this? What if I met the other one in different circumstances? Maybe things would have played out differently. Or maybe
But
they would have been worse. Who knows? But we
yeah,
can't play what if games.
you can
So
play those all fucking day, but yeah, they're not going to get you
I mean, yeah,
anywhere.
but it won't get you nowhere, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
you're going to be in the same place, just with a lot less fucking uh, mental strength of anything. Like that just fucking drains you, and
yeah,
nothing.
but I've come out just so like, my God, thank you, like, you know, thank you for being in my life for me to learn that, you know? Like, that was so, I don't know if I would have learned that lesson from any other person. You know what I mean? Even like the worst
Yeah,
people you can probably say that about. And
right.
like, that's probably harder to, but you know what I mean? Like, you think of the people that really fucking hurt you in life, you
Yeah,
know?
and like, yeah, you're a piece of shit, but thank you. Now I know, like, now I know not to, now I know to like watch out for that, or like to be aware how I'm reacting to that.
Yeah,
Like,
and like, we all have different comfort levels in life, like what we're willing to tolerate and not willing to tolerate, how much we protect ourselves, how much we bubble wrap our own ideas. That was another thing. Like, we're ideologically, I can't even say that word, different, but never discussed our opinions on that stuff. It was one of those things that we knew that we, if we got into it, it probably wouldn't be good. So for the sake of being nice, we'll just not talk about those things. But that's not real, you know? And that's kind of the reason why, like, I am trying to make it work with my partner, because I'm like, well, she does see me for who I am. And that's a hard thing to find in this world, for
right,
someone to really see you, right? To see that, like, where your intentions are. And like, sometimes I get so low, like when things are going bad, and you know, everything's piling. I'll go to my friend Scott. He's a comedian in Halifax, Scott McLean. And he has an offensive comedy style. It's not for everyone. It's actually not really for me, to be honest. Like, but like, him as a person, he's a good guy and his intentions are in the right place. And one of the things he always says to me when I'm feeling really down on myself, he's like, Cliff, you are on your way to being a force for good. You are daily contributing to these intentions that are going to help people. Like, he reminds me of my mission. And now I think what happens is a lot of us just don't have a mission, right? A lot of us don't have an aim, a thing to walk towards. I find it really helpful for me to be like, oh, I'm creating these comedy programs that help people with social and emotional learning, and I can help a group of people maybe have better conversations or maybe increase their self-confidence. And that to me is really worthwhile. And I'm okay doing that. And if I have that impact on 8 people or 80 people or 800 people, it doesn't matter as long as I had an impact.
right.
But we're the hardest on ourselves, and I'm not the one to remind myself of my own mission all the time. So it is nice to have a friend in your corner that goes, bro, this is what you're about, keep being about it, you
Yeah,
know?
but yeah, about what was that? I don't, man, I'm fucking losing it. I thought I
That's
had
okay,
it,
bro.
uh, But yeah, dude, like, yeah, you got to keep being about it. And, uh, yeah, sometimes you never know. Like, you just like, you're like, okay, it's just what I do. Like, my, am I doing the right thing? Should I keep doing this? But then you're like, yeah, I know I should. I know I should. But
Doubt's hard, right?
yeah,
I've been riddled with self-doubt my whole life. And it's mostly because like I'm doing something that others are saying I shouldn't be doing in a certain type of way, right? Like, like I've heard so much from certain family members that like get a good job, get security, blah, 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 right? You want these
yeah,
certain labels that represent you well. And I've accepted so many things that just make me kind of unemployable. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool with my neck tattoos and hand tattoos, and I'm all right with being a brash comedian. I don't care if I've said something offensive publicly because that was Clifford in the past. And if we need to discuss it, we will, but we probably won't because I don't know. I haven't caught you red-handed in every offensive thing you've done, and we're not going to play tic-tac-toe here. So, you know what I mean? Like, this
right.
is one of those things where we're just going to move forward. And most things is like, for me, just accepting my place of like, yeah, like you love this. This is where you're at. You like taking people on a journey. You love storytelling. You love connecting. So you're in the right place. And it's just figuring out how to do that in different ways. And like, I've been washing dishes in a pub, making the waitresses laugh and like whatever. Like I pick up what I need to pick up to just keep the lights on. But like for me, that's grit, that's will, that's determination. I can't settle for a safe life at the expense of a beautiful one.
And that's a hard thing too, to like, because there's always that. Like, it's just so ingrained in us. And then it's
Dude, I don't
fuck.
like it.
I
Like of course I want more safety and stability and predictability. Of course I do.
Yeah,
But I'm working towards it. I'm working towards getting that on my terms, which is just
yeah.
harder. And listen, bro, you might 2 years from now, we're doing this podcast and I'm living on a park bench and I'm just like, hey, Rusty, it didn't work out so well. But I still go to
Uh,
the Y, right? Like it's one of those things, but like I I'm okay. I've accepted it. No matter where I'm at, I've accepted it. So
yeah,
like, I don't know. I do think we're scared. I do think like we see it in our education. Everything's bubble wrap now. We're trying to bubble wrap kids. We're afraid of them being exposed to certain ideas or falling and getting hurt. And there's all this trying to protect. And the truth is in life is there's no equality. There's no true equality in nature, right? Like
right.
the males lead packs, predators eat prey. There's just like there's no equality. So we are going to get hurt. We're not always going to be protected. We're not going to always know how to protect ourselves. That's a hard reality for a lot of people to face. And I think that's one of the reasons why when you're talking to the average person, you're talking to the average unprotected person, right? The person that does not know when their next paycheck's necessarily coming. Does, someone trying to pay back CERB while also being in debt and having to pay child support. Like these are real people with real issues. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
And
yeah,
I mean,
sorry, go
there's
ahead.
no, that's cool. I was gonna say it, but then I mean, there's the why. You always got the why, man. Like, and but the like, no matter what, dude, the why's gonna be there. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's enough fucking predictability, man. If the why's there,
Oh, I
you got
love it, man. I walk
you got
in,
the why,
Maria
man.
says, hey. I'm like, hey, Maria, what's up? Blah, blah. She knows I forgot my card, so she swipes me in. It's like, oh, some of that predictability is very fun.
Yeah,
And they're also like, I find like most people in my experience are kind when they're not being competitive. When they don't think that they need to beat you at something like, oh, this person can take my position or this person can take my stage time or something like that. When there's not, those stakes aren't in the picture, most people treat each other quite well, you
yeah.
know?
I
But I think like, and maybe it's just the internet amplifying everything, but when I look at core issues, The core issues I see is not being able to get along and not being able to communicate. Right? When
Right.
you can probably deduce every war to that, and then there's financial gain and that complicates things and all that horrible stuff. But essentially, if we were able to master how we get along and how we communicate with one another, how we accept each other's differences instead of how we go to war over them, well, then we solve the problem, I think. We're not solving every problem, but we're solving the root problem. And I think if we solve that problem, everything else dominoes.
Yeah, which is not putting the fucking band-aid on a fucking huge gash.
And not pretending like life's not incredibly uncomfortable. Not pretending like we're not supposed to be creatures of discomfort. We're supposed to go through hard things. I say to my son all the time, like he'll be really upset and he'll get crying. He's like, Dad, I can't do it. I'm like, well, I believe you can do it. And then I'm like, what does Dad tell you? And he's like, we can do hard things. I'm like, we can. So what can we do to do this hard thing? And then he'll start thinking, oh, what if we did this? Or like, you start trying to create solutions and become resourceful instead of just sitting there and being wounded. And now my son, he feels a lot. He absorbs a lot. Things hurt his feelings. He couldn't get the markers in the drawer right the other day, and he was upset about that. And I'm looking at my son and I'm seeing like, okay, I have to be, it's called a velvet fist. With an iron fist, you're too heavy, but with a velvet fist, you're soft but firm. And I think that's the approach we need to discomfort is I'm going to allow you a certain level of discomfort, but I'm going to gently guide you through it. Like I'm going to be kind to your struggle, but I'm not going to take away your struggle. I'm going to let you have it. Because it's yours to have.
You need to have that struggle, or else it's never like there's nothing to better yourself. There's someone else's. You figured out a way to, get around a solution, but then you're not bettering yourself to be able to prepare for the next time something like that goes down.
There was we were at this playground, this indoor playground thing where they have different mats that you can flip on and these like, big shapes that you can move around and stuff like that. And a kid took my kid's thing, that he was playing with. And my kid comes up to me and he's like upset about it. And I don't know, I had a dad moment where I'm like, oh, my kid's sad. I was like, well, do you want me to like say something to him and just be like, hey, he was playing with that? And then I was really proud of him. He goes, no, Dad, this is my responsibility. And because it's one of those things that he sees me do. He sees me go, like, there'll be something really tough and I'll go, I'm taking that. Like I call it, that one's mine. I will figure this out. And like, I've had eviction threats. I've been through the ringer and I go, I will own this and I will solve this and I will figure this out. And he sees Dad stepping up and being really responsible. And the thing is I'm not naturally responsible. I'm very naturally irresponsible. Like I eat too much food and I'm a natural addict. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things where I'm like, I am not the example of a role model. But I'm also open that I'm trying to learn how to be, especially for my kid. I like, I had an every other weekend dad. So to be able to have almost, 50-50 with my son, I see him every single week. I'm a part of his life every single week. And I have a significant impact on his life. That's changed my mentality. It's one of the reasons why I'm not just a comedian. Like I can't just go be funny. Like I also like, no, I want to help kids develop their self-esteem when they're young. Because I think the greatest thing parents can do is give their kids esteem where they go, no, I can take this on. I can do hard things. I'll take the responsibility, Dad. That to me is just the parenting win.
And I think that's, something that can be brought, not just for a few days, not just for a 1 day solution. That's showing him fucking dicks out for Harambe, dude.
It's building for the long term, right? Everything
Right.
we do, whether we realize it or not, is building for the long term. That bad habit, there's going to have long-term effects, and that good habit is going to have long-term effects,
Right.
right?
And yeah, and sometimes it's hard to see that right off the bat, though.
Well,
Sometimes,
because we're impatient as shit.
yeah,
We're
like,
so
damn, dude,
impatient. We want results now. Come
uh,
on, right? Like,
uh, doing this fucking so long and like nothing. But then, well, like you break it down, you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I guess, yep, guess maybe did do something. Maybe did do something. Maybe got that a little closer, move that shit along a little more, learn a little bit,
yeah,
learned a little bit."
and like if you're able to look at yourself honestly and reserve some criticism, right? Like you don't need to be criticizing yourself when you're looking at things. So you
Right.
can go, "Oh, I've made progress here. I haven't made progress here. I could readjust this. I could take away that." Like you can look at things practically without being like, "You piece of shit, you ate the cake again." Like you don't need to do it. Like you are a piece of shit for eating the cake, but you don't need to say it. You know what I mean? But like, I'm kidding. But someone's listening to this while eating cake. Oh, oh no, put it down. but
Gotta do
but like I think we have a real hard time being honest with ourselves because we have a hard time being honest with each other, right? Like if I was honest with every single person I met, they'd be like, "Oh man, this guy's really trauma dumping. Oh, this guy's kind of unhinged." Right? Like there's too much honesty.
Yeah.
And I'm a very open person, so I'm cool with it. I like being like that kind of person, but people would be overwhelmed if everyone was like that.
Well, unless we all adapted to,
Which I think would be a really interesting society.
I
Imagine
think
a
so too.
society that always said what they were thinking and always didn't beat around the bush and
Yeah,
faced conflict head on and didn't avoid confrontation and learned how to talk through it. Like, I think that's a pretty cool society.
I think so too. And I don't know. I don't know how that gets there. That's the hard part.
Want to know my theory?
No.
No?
No,
All
what's your
right.
theory?
Let's talk about cucumbers then. Fuck you,
Yeah.
man.
No, we're talking about pickles because this is like the pickle podcast. But so what is your theory?
My theory is that like because building for the long term is kind of embedded in everything. It's embedded in the businesses that get built in this world, the programs that we learn from. Like I believe if we had to find the seed, it's education. And like my theory is if we're able to get away from these curriculums that make all these kids learn the same way at the same time, and we accept that individual learners learn individually. Like all of us learn at a different pace at a different time, and that we started adapting our environments for that. We started adapting the way we taught for that. Like 90% of teachers are women that can sit down quietly through a day and be attentive and let their kids do their things. Especially in Canada, that is the demographic. Whereas like young boys are full of energy, they need to run around, they need to get rough. A lot of them don't learn in those environments,
Yeah.
and so like our outdated curriculums, because there's so much red tape to go through things, is really hurting people. Whereas, like, I would say, just like, we got to blow up the city, bro. We got to demolish those systems. We got to start over. We have to adapt. We now have technology. We now have tools. We now have kids can learn differently in the same room. You can have kids at a center table collaborating together. You can have another kid with noise canceling headphones learning from an iPad. You can literally have that all in the same room. You can have someone in a sensory room. You can have other people learning tactfully in like a sand pit. Like you can learn. You got to remember, like Helen Keller learned how to write and read from water, right? Like Anne put water on her hand, Anne Sullivan, I believe her name was, and puts water on her hand and spelled it out. And that's how she learned what writing was. She couldn't speak, she couldn't see, she couldn't hear. And she
Yeah.
learned how to be a fucking author. And I look at that and I go, our education system, how are you failing us when like someone like that can learn this way? Like, don't you understand it's more unconventional than we're given it? Like,
And
conventional education, I think, is a real problem.
well, I mean, because like the education system was built by the current one built by the Rockefellers, I
Yeah, that's
believe.
not great, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Well, and
yeah,
like, and obviously we know, like, we're gonna get real hippie about it, but like, anything that's teaching people how to comply and not teaching people how to be autonomous and stand up for themselves is probably not a good system,
yeah,
right? Like, we can't
right,
we can't be operating in compliance systems. That's unfortunately, like, we can't all just be like, yes, sir. That's not life, and that only
right,
serves people with a bunch of money that have a bunch of power, right?
right. And I mean, yeah, dude. Like when I went through school, like I was not of that. I could have benefited from a lot of different learning styles,
Yeah, man.
and
How,
like,
how, how many people grow up dyslexic, ADHD, whatever it is? They're tossed these labels on them. Oh, you're on the spectrum. You're this, you're that. And then it's about trying to treat that. And I'm just like, no, why don't you just treat the education system that it's ready for that it's ready for ADHD kids, that it's ready for children on the spectrum, like that the
yeah,
system is ready, not the kids. You know what I mean? Like, we put it all on the parents, we put it all in the families, and it doesn't make sense when we have the knowledge and education that we don't learn this way. It's why I'm such a big advocate for play-based education. It's why I'm such a big advocate for discomfort. These are things that I really stand by, because when push comes to shove, no matter what our technological advances are, I go back to sticks and stones. How do people learn? We learn like lions, like the way they teach their cubs through play. We learn through doing, we learn through mistakes, we learn through connection, we learn through community. Those things are sticks and stones and never fucking going away, no matter what Elon Musk puts in our head. Okay?
right.
So, like, for me, I gotta keep us on track and be like, no, let's stick to the fundamentals. The fundamentals will show us the way. We're gonna have to do this unconventionally, but it's gonna be based in the fundamentals that have been there since the beginning of time.
And the fundamentals are so overlooked so often in so many different things. Like you can do a million go for wrestling, I guess, even for an example. You can do a fucking 630, a fucking code red, you can do whatever, but you don't know a fucking wristwatch from a wrist lock. And you don't know how to fucking, you know, sell a punch. You don't know how to do that. But you can do all this other shit. But like without that, like you're losing like the whole base or like
Well, what's interesting about, like, using wrestling as an example, you could say the fundamentals are technique, but then you could go deeper and say, well, no, in pro wrestling, the fundamentals is storytelling.
yep.
True
Okay.
fundamentals
Yeah.
is storytelling, right? Why are you getting into a grapple? Why do you circle when the match starts? Why do you size each other up? What happens when you lock? When you go in for the lock, that fundamental, when the two people that are against each other clash, when the horns go, right? Why does
Right.
the heel lead the dance? What does that mean about good guys and bad guys? Why is the good guy always fighting uphill and the bad guy is always pushing him down? What's true about that? And that, to me, is the fundamentals. The fundamentals is in the
That's a good
storytelling,
point.
you
So
know?
well, okay, so when you were so you were telling me before we started that you were at the show and you were so was it like partway through the show that they stopped it, or was it like between a match or something that they had you come on
No,
and
they had
do?
me as the pre-show. So I'm literally opening up for a wrestling show at 6:15 p.m. There's kids in the audience. I'm doing my act. I'm eating it, but my son is watching me do comedy for the very first time. I put a reaction video of his reaction on my Instagram if anyone wants to check it out, just because it's adorable and you get to see my son being proud of me and it's cool. So,
Awesome.
like, yeah, there's some internet trolls that's like, don't use your kid for clout. And I'm like, I'm not using my kid for clout. I'm showing you a kid feeling real joy, and I felt real joy. I hope you find something, bro. Like, god damn it, man. But like, I kept my confidence up even though I was eating shit, and no one really noticed. They had a good time, and then the wrestling show started, and there was wrestlers that got bigger laughs than me. And what I learned from that, in terms of craft, is okay, wrestling crowds need interaction. The next time I do this, I will interact with the audience. I will not do my set. I also learned that like it's weird being surrounded. Like having an audience on four sides of you is a weird feeling.
Especially if you have a camera, if you have a hard cam and you have like
Yeah.
that one side that you have to like, it's
That you
really
have to
weird.
play to. And you know what's funny? Did you see that
Yeah.
wrestler that won't look away from the hard cam? Have you seen that guy?
Uh-uh.
There's a guy who has a shtick where he'll be fighting and looking at the hard cam. So if they're going sideways and he should be
That's
looking the other way, he won't. And he'll do
cool.
like a clothesline while still making eye contact this way. And it's so fucking funny. It's so funny.
I love that shit, man. Like, like being able to go and bring something like that into it, something that's like, it's sort of breaking the fourth wall. I mean, I guess it is technically breaking the fourth
No,
wall.
it completely is. It's the Annie Hall of wrestling moves. And it's like he's looking directly at the camera. He's trying to pin him, and the guy's going up, and then he's just looking at the camera while pinning him down, pinning him down, pinning him down. And you're just like, wow, is this guy really telling a story just through eye contact? He's telling a
Absolutely.
story by refusing to break eye contact. That is so fucking interesting. Like I'm just
Yeah.
like the psychological, like you show me a movie that's doing that, you won't.
Man,
Like,
that would be a movie. That would be, but I mean, you can see it in wrestling. So what? I mean, wrestling already did it. So, but I mean, that would be a fucking,
but all these mediums serve something, right? They serve teaching us a way of doing things. They expand the way our understanding, because the truth is our understanding is never cemented. Right? Like the one thing that's cemented is all things change. That's the
yeah.
one thing, that's one certainty we can pretty much count on. But everything else is just, I'm doing the Matthew McConaughey Fugazi Fuguzi, that whole thing. Like it's just in the ether. But I like when you see people that are stuck in their ways, they think their understanding cemented. They think they know the world. They think that they have a good idea of how things work.
Which
But
is the moment where you got to be like, no.
how many people were humbled by the pandemic? Right? Wait, we can work at home? Wait, the government's just going to give us money? Wait, I can work in my underwear? like they're just like, what? Like all of a sudden, everything we knew wasn't what we knew anymore. And now that we know this information, none of us know what to do now.
Right. Well,
Oh,
go
no,
back to what we know.
no one wants to work. Yeah, we didn't have to. You told us that my job was not deemed important.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, oh, we want people back in the office. Why would I commute? I just spent 2 years not commuting. Like, our understanding's different now. And people are like trying so hard to hold on to these ideals because maybe it benefits them. Maybe it makes them feel safe. Whatever it is.
I think that's exactly it. And so many people, I don't know why offices, like, I'm surprised office spaces did get turned into like, uh, like kind of like malls, just like make them into like old folks' homes or something. Like, I thought office spaces were all going to be obsolete, but then they all started going back.
I think the future of office space is definitely going to be experience space. People will start using physical spaces to be immersive. And if it is an office, it's going to be an immersive office. There's going to be VR headsets there. There's going to be ways to interact with the environment. There's going to be ways that you learn from that environment and customers get a different experience than they would online or in person in the past. So like, I do believe that immersion's happening. I do believe that we will live in the hybrid. If I'm getting really philosophical there, I do believe everything will be a mix. I do believe we're going to be amalgamated, but I don't think it's going to be technology taking over. And I don't think it's going to be us returning to the way things were. I think it's going to be a weird hybrid that we did not predict or understand. And I don't think we're ready for what AI is going to do, but I do think we're going to adapt to it. So like, you know what I mean? Like yeah, it's going to fucking hit us hard, but we're going to be okay.
Like what you were telling your son.
Yeah.
Like
We can do hard
saying,
things. Imagine just
yeah,
saying that to all of society. We can do hard things, guys. Like sometimes I think my message is so like grade kindergarten, you know? Like it's such a
but
kindergarten message sometimes.
back to that wrestling, that's what you need. That's how you communicate. And that's how you get to everyone can be like, yep, I get it. Um, why not, man? Like it's
Yeah.
why not have that common denominator where everyone can get it and understand like
Yeah. I never understood why someone would make a thing that people wouldn't get. You know, like I never understood why like a really smart philosopher wouldn't learn how to speak to someone that struggles with reading. You
and a
know, like
hipster.
yeah, like I just never understood that because I'm like, there's no classism in ideas. Like
That's a great point.
ideas should be for everyone, right? Like learning should be for everyone. There should not be classism in learning, but there is, right? And like especially with funded systems, especially with funded educated systems, right? Like so there's people that get a private education that's like a better education, but like you know The Holdovers is a popular movie that's up for an Oscar this year about a private boarding school. I'm reading Catcher in the Rye about this guy dropping out of boarding school, you know, like these prep kids. It's such an interesting culture because they're always the ones that are the most angsty, most nihilistic, the most privileged to be able to be that. And I thought I was going to be nihilistic because I love punk shit. I love skulls. You know, I got a demon on my shirt right now. You know, like
Oh yeah.
I like people don't get that about me because I'm such an upbeat fuzzy bear kind of character. But like, I love punk shit. I listen to punk music. I like people doing wild ass shit. I love watching wrestling botches. Like I'm just like I don't know. I just love this shit. And that's where I get a lot of my energy and my grit and that kind of stuff is from punk shit. You know?
Yeah.
But like what were we just talking about? I did have a point with that.
Education and everyone learn uh
I lost my point. I don't even do weed anymore, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm completely straight edge right now. But like yeah, I'm sure I had a point and it'll come back to me if we're meant to talk about it.
yeah. Well, okay, so then there's so much with trying to get anyone to Oh, you're talking about the private schools? Wasn't it with the private in
Yes,
the
there
movie?
we go, right?
Fuck
So
yeah, I'm
like
high as shit.
fuck yeah, that's so funny. You got there. No, I'm saying like I should default to nihilism, but what because I am more blue collar and more just kind of like yeah, going to my local community center and volunteering and things and doing this and that kind of thing. It actually breaks down the ego that I'm like I don't get to be nihilistic. Like I don't get to be all doom and gloom and none of this matters and I you know what I mean? There is no God. Like I to me I'm like no, there's my neighbors exist. You know, that person exists. That, you know, I don't get that luxury. So I do think certain philosophies and ideas are just like a privilege.
Yeah, and
That was the full thought.
okay, and then like the YMCA dude, dicks out for Harambe for everyone at the fucking YMCA dude. The YMCA dude, everyone's just there. They're just everyone with everyone. And
Yeah, and at
it's
those prep schools, everyone gets their own steam room, right? So
yeah. So let me ask you about this, about the steam room with the Y. Do you ever have people coming in there with essential oils? Or do they put lemons in the
no,
fucking
I have not seen any of that. It is the same dirty ass chode sweat smell every single time. Sometimes there's a hose in there and people will like
Yep,
try to hose things off as if that's going to do something. And I'm like,
right,
yo, these smells live here. They are soaked into the walls. We will never escape the smell of man sweat.
right,
And
right.
it is that's what it is. It is sweaty men sweating from every orifice, armpits, buttholes, chodas, ball sacks. That's what it
Yeah,
is. It's beautiful. And guess what? You're breathing in all that. You're breathing,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
breathing all that sweat in, and you're sitting there and you're talking to some guy beside you who's telling you that his son just graduated college and blah blah blah, and you're there breathing in his chode air. And there's something nice about that. It is absolutely disgusting, and I really like it as a social activity. I think it's good for people. I wish that people could work less and just be naked and smell each other's chode sweat in good conversation.
I think it's an important thing, like metaphorically and non-metaphorically,
Anyone
man.
like
Like,
just listen to this is like, yeah, listen, taking in someone's chode sweat it doesn't matter. You're right.
yeah, it does. And if you've been in a fucking steam room, you know that. You know how important it is, and you know how good a steam room is. Like just to be able to have that, and then you know you got other people in there. Like it's a good place to be. It's a
Well,
good fuck.
for me, like, listen, man, like sometimes I look at life and I'm like, oh man, the absurdity of this thing is so overwhelming. Right?
Yeah.
If I look at what's trending, oh, not good. It's never a good hashtag,
You do
right?
that?
I used to. I used to
Yeah.
back in the
Okay.
day see what's trending, and it'd be like some war or something, like it'd be whatever hashtag that country or whatever. And
So when you're doing that, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Did you like tailor any of your act to that? What was trending, and
Um,
then
no, I wouldn't, because like I don't that's the thing, it didn't serve a purpose. It didn't serve a purpose other than me being caught up in the zeitgeist of things, right?
right,
And now, like, because the things that I'm going to talk about on stage are what happens in my life. Nothing that happens on the internet enters my act,
right.
So like for me, like it didn't serve a purpose other than maybe nosiness. Like I'm like, curious what everyone's talking about, like, but like I'm at the point now where like my algorithms are wrestling and comedy. There is nothing outside of that. I have the best algorithms. Oh, and thirst traps. So
Okay, yeah,
wrestling, comedy, and some booty, some cake for
yeah,
days, right? Like
yeah.
that's it. But I love it, And for me, I'm just like, I don't know. It's weird because I'm such an advocate for education, but I'm also an advocate for just like, blue collar living. I don't need to be any type of way. So I'm never really taken seriously by those in higher education organizations and stuff like that. But I also don't think I'm necessarily wrong.
But they not may not fuck with Uncle Cliffy anyway, man.
They may not fuck with Uncle Cliffy. That might be what's
And
up.
maybe they just wouldn't anyway. Maybe they would if they fucking maybe they just like have a preconceived notion of like, oh man, fucking, I don't need to listen to Uncle Cliffy, and then that's just what their existence is. And
Well, how
they
how many people go up to someone else in their head and they're like, what do they know? What's that person
all
know? Instead
all
of
the fucking
going,
time.
instead of going, huh, what do they know?
What do they know?
Like, right? Like, what do they know? And what do they know? There's just
Right,
a little difference of like wanting to really know what someone else knows and thinking that you know better. And I don't think I know better than you, Rusty. I don't think you know better than me. I think we're equally lost, brother.
right. Yeah, I would agree.
Look at your hairline. There's no way you have the answers.
No,
Fucking look at mine too. I'm
yeah,
starting to bald like a fucking pizza missing a slice right now.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I got the whole pizza back here, Missy, man.
I so you might be the same as me. My Portuguese ancestors, they all had skullets. So the really like, big hair around here and then bald at the top, party in the back, existentialism in the front, So like you might be skullet bound like me, brother.
I think so. I think that's a good place to be, man. Like
Gotta accept it.
yeah, I tried to you know, cover it up. Like last when was that? Maybe like a year and a half ago, I was working a wrestling show and I had a hat on and then I took my hat off and then immediately someone was like, making bald jokes and shit. And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Look at my fucking bald spot. Look at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
shit. This
yeah.
shit is fucking beautiful. You
Draw a
wish you
picture on
fucking
it,
had.
brother. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it.
like you gotta. you know, like I said when I went on this my Mormon talk show, sometimes you got to shit your pants,
Yeah.
because like we were saying back with our truth, man, like just him fucking doing that. Like if you walked up and you went into like what he's done recently, even like with going to the show, so ended up in Austria when they went to
That was
Australia.
so funny. Yeah, because he's not even on the show. The show's in Australia, and he does a thing where like, hey, I'm in Austria. Where is everyone? Now he might have just been in LA or whatever, right?
Right.
But it's so funny because he's like, even when I'm not included, I'm included. Like he was still
Yeah.
like, people were talking about that video as much as they were talking about the event. Like,
Which
and that's someone who understands. Like I've seen who was it was some podcaster that was calling our truth and was like, I think you're way smarter than you put on, I think you're a genius and blah blah blah. And Ron Killings is there going, oh, you think that? No, blah blah blah, nah, right? He knows what he's doing. The guy is so smart. And like the fact that he'll never let anyone like tell him he's smart tells me he's the smartest guy in the room. Like,
like
I really believe that he is so intelligent that he knows you do not need to prove your intelligence. That, like, I truly believe that. Me, I still have a bit of ego where I want people to take me seriously. I want people to believe in my vision. I want people to back up what I've been trying to build in my company and, like, back up this idea that we can learn through discomfort and through play-based education. And because I feel like I have something to prove. He's smarter than me because he knows that he doesn't have anything to prove. And that gives him the most confidence I've seen in any other human. And you think about the way his humor is all misdirection, right? He calls a team by the wrong name. He tries to join a heel faction as a good guy. Like he's just doing the things you're not supposed to do. He's the kind of guy that shows up to a car wash with a bicycle. Like he just doesn't make sense. And that to me is so funny. It's like Leslie Nielsen levels of funny in real life. And I'm just like, how are you spoofing reality? You're a
well,
genius, brother.
because he's also doing it like Leslie Nielsen, where he's doing comedy uh straight. He's just doing it as fucking straight as possible. Like he's not like over the top being goofy about it, that he's fucking, you know, doing
Well,
the misdirection, but like it
and he does the
fucking
running jokes, right? So the whole like he'll get something wrong, and then oh, my bad, my bad. Oh,
yeah.
I, I gotta go. My bad, right? Like there's not a lot to that, but there's so much to that, and like he makes tough guys crack. It's so funny.
Which
Like
is yeah.
we enjoy him making us laugh as much as we enjoy him making other people laugh.
Right.
It's
It's
dude, I can't get over how beautiful of an entertainer this guy is. Like I am so obsessed. People think I'm nuts. I like the way you're talking about him as if he's like the creator of stoicism. I'm like, isn't he? Like, like whatever he is seems right. Like he just feels so right to me.
and like the fact that he can go out, anywhere. Like you're saying, like he can be in LA and just like get as much people that fucking do a fucking hour Broadway fucking match, kill their fucking body. He goes and does one little thing like, oh, hey, I'm in fucking Austria, not Australia. Like, oh shit, dude, that's what, like, when you leave somewhere, like a comedy show or wrestling match, like, have that one moment even of like, I remember that part. Like if you have a 2-3 hour wrestling show, what are you going to walk away with? Maybe if you're lucky, 5 things, and by the time you go back the next month, maybe 2 or 3 things.
Well,
But
what's really interesting about that is what I believe they walk away with is the story of the night. Whatever that was to that person. Maybe they were in the nosebleeds and the guys behind them were loud as shit. And that's part of their story for that night. Or maybe they were in the front row and Cody gave their kid the belt. That's part of the story that night. Everyone in that audience, you have 20, 50,000 people, depending on the event, leaves with a different story. They all leave with a different story. They all witness the same thing, but it's not just the stories we're watching, it's the stories we're living in the moment in real time. And like, that's what's so brilliant about it. Like, I always leave comedy going, what was the story I presented in the night, and what was the real story of the night, right? Because you have like, oh, this happened in the show, but what you didn't see was that I was in the green room maybe crying right before the show, or like, you know, like I just had to console another comedian or something like that. But you saw one thing, but there was something else happening, you know?
What comedian's thinking that other than you? Who else is thinking that way? Is anyone thinking that way?
I'm sure there are that think in different ways. I know that comedians love to wax poetic. Like, we're always thinking philosophically about this because we're engaging in something that's quite different, right? We're engaging in public discourse where we can be heavily criticized in real time, where there could be consequences in real time, or there could be giant victories in real time. You know, like, and one of the things that, like, whether we know it or not, we are engaging in the art of storytelling. Even if it's a small joke, that joke has a beginning, middle, and end. There's no ways about it. It's all storytelling. So like, I am just overly like into it. Like, for me, I'm just such a fan of comedy that there's not been a single heartbreak in this industry that's made me love it less. It's made me see more thorns. It's made me see more ugliness, but that hasn't taken away my love, you know? And for me, it's like, oh, because I truly love a story worth telling, a life worth commenting on. That's what I love. And I will not deviate from that, you know? Like, and it's just, I'm convicted, bro. Whether I'm right or wrong, I stand in my conviction on this. You know, like, that I
Yeah.
believe like in this story driven life.
Which is really overlooked. And then going back to the fundamentals, like you said, like it is a story driven life, and wherever
Everything
you
we learned
are,
was from stories. Every culture has its own creation story. Like, everything is stories and energy, right? Like, you look at science, everything's energy. You look at society, everything is stories. Even animals, right? There was a cheetah, there was a gazelle, the cheetah chased the gazelle gets eaten. There's a story, right? And
right?
now that cheetah lives to tell another story. That's the way that goes, you know? And so, like, what, now you don't have to like that story. It's an ugly story. And if you were rooting for the gazelle, that was an awful story. But if you were the cheetah, well, that was a victorious story. So it really depends. Like I said, everyone has a different story of the night.
But then if you're the gazelle, you got to have that story. You got if you're rooting on the gazelle, you got to have that story of the gazelle getting fucking taken down. Like that's gonna teach you. That's
Well,
gonna
that
teach
gazelle
you
got taken
something.
down, but but you know, his sister got away. Well, now his sister's got a different story, right? Like,
Right.
and now his sister knows what happens when there's a cheetah nearby. You know, so like, that's the thing. Now we have more information. Now we have more knowledge. Now people always like, I get worried about the way we medicate anxiety and the way we like deviate from fear, because fear and anxiety tell us a lot of good things. You know, like they actually kind of help us with core memories. They help us develop really useful knowledge. So to medicate anxiety away, to try to get rid of these things that we're fearful of, I don't actually believe is a good thing. You know, like, I believe feeling depressed is probably the correct reaction to most things. Oh, like, you saw the situation in Gaza and you felt depressed? That makes sense. It's depressing. It
Right.
sounds pretty depressed, but this is the difference. Sitting in that depression is doing nothing for us. The more we sit in it, the worse we feel, right? So we can't control that. We can't, and there's things outside of our control. What is within our control? Well, we can control accepting that we can't control it. We can control how we make things better for someone else today. I'm doing my best to have a valuable conversation with you right now because you run this podcast and I want your episodes to be good. I want you, when people are saying, hey, Rusty, where should I start? I want you to go, hey, check out the Clifford Myers episode. We have really interesting conversations.
Check out both Clifford Myers episodes.
Check them out
What you
both.
do.
One day we're going to have 10 in the can, then 20, because like one of the things with you is you took me on your podcast when your podcast is just an amateur indie thing and I'm just an amateur indie guy. You have nothing to prove, I have nothing to prove. Cool. So that means we can just watch each other grow as time goes on. I watch your set get better and better, and you can watch my career flourish or crash and burn and whatever it's going to be. But like, I like those kind of check-ins, and now I don't think that's what's going to happen. I
don't
think
so.
I'm very positive about the future. Like, I think I'm heading in a great direction, but I do also think that like having these kind of check-ins, especially like even for me to look back on, oh, well, where was my mind at that time? And like my ideas around education haven't changed. I think we probably touched on some of this last time, but like it's my obsession, right? And I'm really obsessed with how we learn and how we connect. And so and I very much simplify it to stories. I think the best way we teach people is through stories. I think the best way we live a good life is by living stories. Like, I think that's what it is.
Well, when's the Uncle Cliffy school gonna open up?
So like my company is The Other Comedy Company. If people go to theothercomedy.co, and one of the things we do workshops and stuff right now, but we are going to have online courses at some point. We're going to have story driven courses about how to tell the story of your like how to tell your own story, how to kind of view your life as a story. If you're someone who's not confident, where's that coming from? What do you need to overcome? Understanding who the dragons are, what the dragons are, and what you need to slay, like identifying those things. We're going to release some courses around that. That's most likely a 2025 thing, though, just being perfectly honest, because I'm in the middle of developing youth programs and senior programs with community centers. So I'm trying to pilot some programs right now, and it takes a lot of red tape to try to get through these. I need to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and I'm not getting paid to have these conversations, and we're not going to get paid a lot to do these programs. But these are things that I really stand by, and I think I need more data. So, it's something I'm pushing forward. And that's what this year is all about, is pushing forward those pilot programs.
Yeah, and I mean, you need to have those. Like, you got to get to that spot. Like, because I mean, like you're saying, education system needs to be fucking blown up and rebuilt.
Oh man, and like one of the things when I was doing like just the corporate workshops, remember, you gotta remember when I first started, this was just a corporate thing. I was just doing training for corporate companies. And then, but I was talking to all these like, top level executives and people leaders and all these people that were like, I love this as a team building activity. I love that you put us through a pressure cooker. We learned a lot about trust. We learned a lot about confidence, but I wish my kid could do this. I wish my mom, who was recently widowed, could have some of this experience with what you're talking about around self-esteem. Like these are the feedback I was getting, and I just realized, like, yeah, this form of education is for everyone. It's not really a product. Even though I have products and services, and sure, but ideally the ideas behind this is for everyone. Anyone can go create their own kind of play-based education. Anyone can go and pilot programs for people and communities. Like I don't have any hold on anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's open source because we should learn from each other. And if someone else can take my company and do it more successfully, go do it.
Fuck yeah.
I don't fucking care, because I think you're going to be onto really good things and help a lot of people. And if you help more people than me, well, my ego doesn't need to help more people than you. That's great. I would love to learn from you. Yeah, fucking awesome.
If someone has a bigger audience that can go and get what you're doing out, like, then how's that a bad thing at all? Like,
I do not give a shit. Yeah, like for me, I give a shit about it being in the hands of the right people, of like the right people becoming more confident. I want to see youth have more confidence in their identities. I want them to really understand what that means. I want them to understand that like spending too much time in our identities can be a bad thing. That like, how do we actually make a community? How do we take our faces away from the phone? And how do we look at each other in the eyes? Like these kind of things are really important. And I want kids to grow up knowing that they have worth, that they have value, that no trauma, no parental neglect, none of that defines the direction of their life. Because your father wasn't there, you don't have to be an addict. You know, these are the things that like I really mean that. Like we don't need to go down that path. And this is the thing, is intervention is really hard. We've learned this. We're trying to intervene with homelessness. We're trying to intervene with drug addiction and the fentanyl problem. It's a horrible, horrible endemic that's been going around in this world. The answer is not in intervention. The answer is in prevention. The answer is in, we need to get to these problems before they're problems. But the problem is we have a reward system and how everything is built. Everything is on funding and call and answer, where prevention, there's no reward for prevention. If someone prevented 9/11 on 9/10, they don't get an applause because 9/11 never happened.
Also, I was just gonna make the comparison to was
That's from the book The Black Swan. There's a book called Black Swan that I think is the first one to use that comparison in terms of like prevention theory. And I think that's to do with the Black Swan theory. I'm not smart enough to understand it. I'm sure Chat GPT can explain it to me. But but it's but it is true that if we were prevention focused, community focused, if we embraced discomfort, if we went and did that at a young age, if we didn't force our ideas on young people, our religious ideas, our societal ideas, the things that divide us culturally, right? But the things that are great about our different cultures, we share. Like I love, there's a guy at the YMCA, he's an Indian dude, and he just came from India about 2 years ago. He's telling me all about his culture all the time. I love hearing it. I love hearing how this guy grew up, what football means in his culture, why that sport was so important to him, why competition was so important to him in a big family. Like, I love hearing that, and I connect to it in a different way. But it does suck when North America has become so comfy that we have this fast food generation that gets everything like that. We get things delivered to us in 2 days. It set a false expectation that we're not to be patient with one another. And that's why you see people online not having patience for other people's learning curves. They don't have patience for where someone, oh, you're ignorant. You're saying that because you're ignorant. Okay. Give them time. Oh, no, let me educate you. Not your responsibility. That's not your responsibility to educate that person. Let them. Unfortunately, learners learn in different lanes, and you've learned this, but they haven't, and you're mad at their learning curve. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
Sounds like
that's a you problem.
Yes, that's what it sounds like, So I look at these things and listen, man, I love doing comedy, but I can't pretend that addiction and broken families and familial problems and all these kind of things aren't more important than my jokes. They are more important than my jokes. And it's one of those things where it's I struggled with this. I struggled with my identity as a comedian, because I don't feel like a comedian when I'm in this research mode and doing these things. You almost feel like a sellout, right? I'm oh, I'm doing a business and I'm doing this and that. No, my intentions are in the right place. I am trying to be a force for good. So I have that mentality, but it's hard to get there. And honestly, what I'm doing is incredibly tough. Bootstrapping a startup is incredibly tough. Being intentionally impoverished is very tough, right? And I've lost a lot of relationships that just don't fuck with me anymore because they're not about this. But I've gained new ones. And there's a comedian, I'm not going to say who, but it's someone I really, really respect. And he wrote me privately and just told me that he had so much faith in me. He said, I have so much faith that you are not going to give up on this. I have faith in your grit. I have faith that you are such a messy bitch that you're going to get there one way or another, but it's not going to be clean. You're going to get there, but with your knuckles dragging on the ground. And that to me gave me life. It was like, thank you for seeing me, because sometimes it feels audacious, like I'm pursuing a different conversation. I'm in the crossroads of comedy and education, entertainment and education, and like it doesn't always make sense. So it feels like the only thing I have is audacity. But I'm also thinking that every great innovation was birthed from audacity. Someone audacious enough to give a fuck and then try.
And you're having to carve your own spot. You're not following in someone's path to get to where you're getting to. And so,
And it sucks, bro, because no one understands me. That's the thing. If I were to say this on a personal level, like I deal with imposter syndrome every single day because I feel incredibly misunderstood. I feel really misunderstood from comedians. I feel misunderstood from my friends in my life, like they try, but they're not interested in the same things I'm interested in. And that's why we only ever really congratulate people once they win. We don't really congratulate people for trying. And that's what that comedian did. He came up to me and was like, Cliff, I see you trying.
I think we should all try to do that. Give, just go out, reach out to someone. It's like,
Someone that you see going for it, just
yeah,
send them a good word. Just be like, bro, I see you putting yourself out there. That must be difficult. I commend you on it. Rock and roll. Keep going.
yeah, like, you go to a restaurant, like how many times have you gone and you look at I don't do this because I don't like this. I don't like the Yelp or Google reviews or stuff that's always like a
Mm.
million people putting like all this with dog shit. These people are stupid or whatever. Going and like calling up and saying, "Hey, fucking so and so did a really good job. Please give them something positive."
Yeah.
It probably won't, but like, do do something like that. If you're gonna go and make a complaint about something, go and try to do the other as well. Just try
Well,
to
it's just energy output. Like it's where you're putting your energy. And like if you want to put it in that bucket, like yeah, like I live in a small town of 20,000 people. Come on. The amount of retirees in this community that have everything to complain about, like it's insane. They literally complain about every social issue, everything. And I'm one of those people that like I don't complain that often. Like I have gripes. I have things I don't like, but I look at it as like an observer. I kind of go through the scientific process of exploration. Like I try to treat it that way because I look at things as an investigation. I don't look at things like black and white. And there's so many people in my town that will just have this negative opinion, being like, it'll be like anything. Be like, I can't believe they close at 4 and not 5. Whatever,
right.
something that's silly. And I'm just like, why can't you just take the extra hour and go sit on a bench and enjoy the birds? Like, what's happening right now? And like the amount of times that I take when I'm in the summer, I moved to a little beach town because I want my feet in the sand. And I want to raise my kid with his feet in the sand. That was really important to me. And people pointed the finger and they said that I was committing career suicide by taking myself out of a major city hub that had lots of shows, that taking myself away from the major metropolises, that like I was not going to be doing comedy again. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to be doing comedy the way you are. I'm not going to get the hustle the way you do. I'm not going to get the same opportunities. But I'm doing this on my terms. I'm raising my kid by the water the way I want to. And for me, like, comedy taught me freedom. That was the
Right.
thing. It's so interesting that one of the things that almost all people talk about is freedom. If I can save enough money and I can be free in my retirement, or people being like, yeah, get your hands off my guns because I want to talk about freedom, right? But when you actually see someone living free, which like really free, it's offensive. Oh, who are you to not work a 9 to 5? Who are you to just be sitting around with your feet in the sand? It's offensive. Freedom is uncomfortable. And I have a question for anyone listening. If you had freedom today, what would you do with it? Right? Like,
Right.
it's fucking scary. Like, what would you do with it? And like, I don't like some people would abuse that freedom, some people wouldn't. Now I'm earning freedom And by earning freedom, what that looks like for me is creating something that's better for other people. That is how I earn my freedom. Right. And that might
Right.
mean I become a servant to this thing. And that means I work long hours and long weeks and I have to make sacrifices. And that is freedom for me. I've chose to serve this. So there's no truest freedom. We still have a timeline. We're still going to die one day. Like so like there's not the truest freedom. We can't just leave Earth. We're not Elon. We can't just hop in our fucking space Teslas and head to the moon whenever we want. So like, you know what I mean? Like we don't have true freedom, but we can pursue it. But you also have to understand you're going to offend people by that pursuit. I literally offended people by going to a small town, which was so silly because I'm like, it's not your life, it's mine. You get all my spots now. Enjoy.
Yeah, dude, they're probably jealous. They're
I don't
like,
know if
well,
it's
shit,
jealousy.
like, some might be. Or they could just be like, yeah, like what's he know? And then what does
Yeah,
he know?
I think it's disalignment. I think they're just not their pursuits are not aligned with my pursuits. Their understanding is not aligned with my understanding. I had a club owner take me out for breakfast and apologize for kind of ostracizing and not liking me because of my bravado in the past. Because I came into a room as if I owned it, as if I was better. I didn't even know that. We didn't have a conversation. I didn't know I pissed this person off. And it was an amazing cathartic thing to go through that experience, being able to understand that I had that impact on people, that I did alienate people. And that was a disalignment on my end where, like, yeah, maybe I didn't realize that I'm not the only one in the room with a dream. Like
Yeah.
it's not all about me, right? Like, so what I'm talking about, those people not understanding my choice, well, I've done the same thing. So that requires a certain level of empathy that I don't think is natural. I think we have to learn it, and I think we learn it the hard way.
For some people.
For some people, some
Some
people are
people,
naturally empathetic. I don't know. It's very tough for me, but
yeah.
it took
Some
me
people,
a bit of time to learn it. And like, I needed a couple ego deaths. People are
right.
like, I had an ego death. I'm like, I needed a couple.
Yeah. You gotta shit your pants.
Yeah.
Shit your ego pants. Um,
I like
uh,
that.
so okay, so I'm gonna have to. If it's been a year, we should get on like I'll put you on my 3 month plan, get you on every 3 or 4 months or something.
Yeah.
So
Like,
it's not.
I love it, man. I love popping
Me
onto the
too.
podcast. I like catching up with you, seeing what we're doing. I think we had a great conversation today.
Yeah, I think so
So
too.
like, yeah, it's probably a good spot to call it, but like, and you keep it under your 2 hours, which is good.
Yeah,
But yeah, man,
focus.
like if people want to connect with me, I'm Clifford Myers, Clifford like the big red dog, Myers like the serial killer. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok. Yeah, just say hi. Let's share ideas. Let's talk. I just like connecting.
So wait, what about Martin Short?
What about him?
Clifford, the movie.
Oh, that movie was
Charles Grodin.
garbage. That was a garbage movie. Maybe I gotta rewatch it. I just remember
You
when I
should
watched
rewatch
it.
it.
I
You
hated it
should.
when I first watched it, but
Was it? Yeah.
maybe it's worth
Well,
rewatching. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. But fuck it, dude. I don't know. If not, whatever. Don't watch it. It's do it or don't. Whatever, man.
Whatever,
Um,
man.
yeah, dude. So well, I'll get you back on here, 3, 4 months, something like that, and so it's not as long. But we can have another part three, man.
Thanks,
Uh,
man. I appreciate you,
hell
Rusty.
yeah, yeah. Appreciate you too, buddy. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right.
All
Peace.
right. Peace. All right. That's Uncle Cliffy. He's the new Uncle Cliffy. So I can get it. We're gonna get some headbands. He needs some Clifford Myers headbands for Uncle Cliffy. 'Cause Uncle Cliffy used to wear headbands. So I like this. I like this. So you guys, thank you everyone for being here and listening, staying till the end. Thank you so much. Yeah, shout out to Clifford Myers, man. Fucking, I like talking to that guy. So I kept it under 2 hours so I can clip this and put it up because he has clippable stuff. So Thank you, everyone, for being here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. And that is the show. Man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.